And welcome back to Public Affairs on Peach. Typically, when you go to the doctor has a lot of questions about your medical history, your daily eating, exercise habits, so on and so on. But what do you really know about your doctor? Well, we did some digging and found some doctors face some serious charges that you know nothing about. Here's Jeff Jericho.
For the past month, we've been digging and uncovering disciplinary records. We investigated more than a year and a half of them, and what we found may shock you. An Athens urologist had his license suspended, accused of raping a patient. Another doctor turned over his license when he was charged with sexual battery of 5 patients. And the board suspended another license when an ER doc got caught with child porn. But most surprising, we found some abusive doctors are working again, like a guy who got in trouble 7 years ago for exposing himself to patients and asking them for sex. He was suspended, went through rehab, but is seeing patients again.
If they are allowed to go back to practice, it is under very, very strict terms and conditions.
Jeff Lane heads up investigations into doctors for the Georgia Composite Medical Board. The board disciplined 89 doctors last year. There are more than 30,000 licensed by the state. Records show more than a dozen doctors were reprimanded for abusing alcohol and drugs. A couple docs were hooked on oxycodone. Many are working after completing rehab. But CBS Atlanta has learned if doctors come to the board admitting substance abuse, Lane says the information can be kept confidential, so patients never know their doctor was addicted.
Would you not want to know if the doctor who's going to be operating on your family member is abusing drugs, alcohol?
Having come out of treatment and in good, strong recovery, they're no longer abusing. But as far as my personal decisions, I don't know that.
We hope they're not abusing, but if with a private order, we never know.
Right.
But there are tough questions about whether the board is tough enough on doctors.
They totally ignored this most serious, utmost situation.
Donna Tortorella reported a doctor to the board for reusing dirty equipment. She doesn't think the board did anything.
Never contacted me, never contacted any of my witnesses, never looked at any of my evidence or anything, but closed out the case.
We can't tell you what happened. Lane won't talk about specific cases.
It's the board that's gotten worse and is not doing as much discipline.
Dr. Sidney Wolf of consumer advocacy group Public Citizen says Georgia's gone from being one of the best to one of the worst states for taking serious disciplinary action against doctors.
One has to look at what it is that has caused the Georgia board to really tank, and the state legislature is the appropriate body to do that. If they don't hold hearings, then they are really indirectly jeopardizing the health of people in Georgia.
Lane admits huge budget cuts have shrunk his department, leaving 5 investigators to check out more than 2,000 complaints each year.
Would I say that the citizens of Georgia are at a higher risk? I don't know if that's really a fair statement to make. I think that you could make that argument.
Now, if you want to check out your doctor, his or her record is on file with the Georgia Medical Board's website. The email address is www.medicalboard.georgia.gov. In fact, it's http medicalboard.georgia.gov. Now, we have a lot more ahead, including my investigation into a limo service that really took people for a ride. My report on the limo to nowhere is coming up next.